From Minnesota's most watched station, WCCO 4 News starts now with breaking news.
Jayme, Aunt Jen can't wait to come and give you that big hug and hold you tight, because we're not going to let you go, and we'll get through this together.
What a day for the family of a Wisconsin teenager who escaped her kidnapper and potentially saved her own life. Jayme Closs went missing without a trace 88 days ago. And this morning we learned investigators think she was the target of the man who would kill her parents.
The FBI says it was Jayme herself who was the break that case needed after she got away from the man accused of taking her from her home. That suspect is 21-year-old Jake Patterson. He's being held on 2 counts of first-degree intentional homicide for the killing of Jayme's parents. Patterson will also face 1 count of kidnapping. The Barron County Sheriff says 13-year-old Jayme walked out of captivity into a neighborhood about 70 miles north of Barron. It's in Gordon, Wisconsin. It happened shortly before 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon. 10 minutes later, deputies arrested Patterson. This comes after Jayme's parents, James and Denise, were found murdered in their Barron, Wisconsin home on October 15th. And that's when Jayme disappeared. We have team coverage of this story today from Wisconsin. Mary McGuire and Christian Cordero are in Barron. Let's start with Christian, who has the very latest on the press conference the sheriff wrapped up just about an hour and a half ago.
Yeah, Heather, what a day here in Barron. When Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald stepped onto that podium, you could feel the joy in his voice, and you knew that this was an outcome he was not taking for granted. Jayme is safe. After thousands of tips, hundreds of officers involved, and 3 very long months, she, as it turns out, rescued herself. When Jayme escaped that home in Gordon, authorities say she found a neighbor who called 911. When police got to her, they brought her to a Duluth Superior Area Hospital for mental and physical evaluations. Doctors have since cleared her, and she's in the process of getting reunited with her family as we speak. Investigators are also interrogating that 21-year-old Jake Thomas Patterson as we speak, who Jayme says held her against her will. Right now, authorities believe Jayme was his only target, and there's no indication he had any contact or relationship with the family. Still, of course, so many questions, but now this relentlessly tested community can finally begin to heal. That stretches from Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald, who has been on this case since day 1, to Jayme's school superintendent, who says she never gave up hope.
We want to thank Jayme for being so courageous and for achieving an opportunity to find her way back to us. What an extraordinary young lady.
She's a 13-year-old girl, and I'm the sheriff of this county, and my job is to make sure everybody's safe. As these guys all take the same oath, and there's no reason to give up hope. We didn't have any evidence to show that she was injured or that she was hurt at the scene. There was no reason to give up hope. That tree lighting ceremony at the school, those kids believed, and when kids believe, it's easy for adults to believe.
And that they did, even when it was hard. We expect another briefing to come at 4 o'clock p.m. That's when investigators will update us with the latest. But I can tell you the elation goes far beyond this room. Everyone in the town and beyond is compelled by this case and this shy, timid, as we've heard, and as we now know, strong 13-year-old girl who freed herself. Heather.
We've heard all throughout the morning. Christian, thank you very much. There was also relief in Gordon, where Jayme escaped.
Someone wrote over her missing persons sign in all caps, found. That elation in Gordon, Wisconsin. That's where Jen Mayerly is live this noon with some breaking news. Jennifer.
Yes, and this is the area where all the activity is happening in Gordon. And that's because just down that road is where Jayme Closs escaped and found help. And she found the help of a woman who was walking her dog, who then went to the home of a few neighbors, Peter and Kristen Kasinkas, and you are joining us now. Tell us, what was that like when you heard a knock on the door last night?
Well, the knock on the door wasn't anything out of the ordinary, but when the door opened up and her dog came through and Jeannie walked in and said, "This is Jayme Closs, and call 911," I was in absolute shock. I mean, to see her in front of me in my kitchen as I'm cleaning fish from a fishing trip, she's in my kitchen. And it was kind of like a dream. It still kind of is. Like I don't know how to wrap my head around this. And when we talked to her a little bit when we called 911. Kristen, we got the name of the suspect and the color of the car. So we were able to get that to the police right away. And then we just made her feel safe until the police arrived.
Did you know right away that it was Jayme, and what did she look like?
Absolutely knew it was her. We've seen her picture a million times around here. She looked exactly the same as she did in her picture, a little bit thinner, I would say, and then she looked really tired and like she's been fighting a battle for weeks. So
I know that when she approached the other neighbor, she asked for help.
Yes.
Did she do the same for you, or did she tell you anything about her time?
She didn't give us any details, and we didn't ask because there was so much going on in her head that we didn't want to get anything that we didn't need just to get to the police where they needed to be at the time.
And you teach at the nearby school, Northwood, and this is also where the suspect went to school, Jake Patterson. What can you tell me about him?
I don't really remember a whole lot about Jake. I had him as a middle school student in science class. Very quiet kid, smart. I didn't really keep up with him after he left Northwood, so I'm not really sure what happened after. But seemed like a nice kid overall.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thanks for what you did and your part in this, and thank you for stopping to talk to us. Kristen, Peter, thank you so much. And what we have learned about Patterson is that he did graduate from Northwood High School in 2005. The superintendent tells me that he was quiet, a good student, had great friends. He was also a member of the Quiz Bowl team that competed with other schools. The school is offering support to students there. But again, right now, this is where the activity is, and we are thankful to Peter and Kristen for coming and sharing us what their night was like last night. They are certainly still processing it here today. Jason, Heather.
No question. Jennifer Merrily, what an incredible interview with the Kasinkas family. Very, very interesting. Thank you. The whole community coming together, obviously, in that moment when Jayme needed them. Right. The Kasinkases were there for her. There is no question that the news that Jayme is now on her way home as the entire community of Barron letting out a collective sigh.
This is what they had hoped and prayed for months, for this exact outcome. And today, as the sheriff said, they have it. Mary McGuire has been in Barron live for us all morning long. She joins us now once again. And Mary, really just an unbelievable story that we have heard unfold throughout the past, 12 hours?
Absolutely incredible, Heather. This has been an emotional roller coaster for the family of Jayme Closs, who has been tireless in their efforts to bring the young girl home. Now, after escaping and asking for help yesterday afternoon in Gordon, Wisconsin, the 13-year-old girl was observed at a hospital in the Duluth Superior area overnight. She will go through a family reunification process and will be brought back home at some point today. Now, this community has rallied around this young girl, posting signs, sharing photos, participating in ground searches, and wearing green ribbons. I spoke with Jayme's godmother this morning, and she had this message for Jayme.
I'm feeling great. Happiness, lots of happiness, but lots of tears. Aunt Jen can't wait to come and give you that big hug and hold you tight, because we're not going to let you go, and we'll get through this together.
Now, as news of Jayme's miraculous escape spread across town, the signs began to change as well, from Find Jayme Closs to Welcome Home Jayme. We spotted this sign outside the town's Dairy Queen that read, "Thank you for bringing her home." Now, after the sheriff's press conference earlier this morning, I did have a chance to speak again with Jayme's godmother. I asked her if she had ever heard of a Jake Patterson. She said never in her life had she heard of the suspect in this case, and that's the same for all of the other family members. So it appears that at least the extended family does not know who this suspect is.
Right, Mary. And from the family to the sheriff to the townspeople, you can just feel through the television that relief.
A lot of relief. Really, this entire town is blanketed with pictures of Jayme Closs with her name. So the fact that she is alive and is going to be coming back home is just miraculous.
Thank you very much, Mary.
Again, Jayme Closs is safe. She escaped. She has been missing for almost 3 months.
There are still lots of questions out there, though, yet to be answered, and this story will continue to develop throughout the day and weeks ahead. There will be another press conference in Barron at 4 o'clock this afternoon. Be sure to stay with WCCO as we continue to have the latest on this story, both online and in our newscast.
Another local story we're watching: a teenager from Minneapolis is dead after being shot in Fridley. Police were called to the 6100 block of 5th Street Northeast last night around 5:45. When they showed up, officers found a 17-year-old who had been shot. He was later pronounced dead at the hospital. At this point, the victim's name has not been shared with us, but police are saying this crime does not appear to be random.
A 99-year-old Twin Cities man died following a robbery inside his home. Police say 2 men demanded money as they forced the victim around his house on Colorado Avenue North in Crystal last month. The homeowner suffered a skin tear and he later died at the hospital. His wife wasn't hurt during the robbery but has since passed away. Police say they do not think this was a random crime.
Investigators arrested 2 students for a gun scare at a high school. North St. Paul High School went on lockdown yesterday afternoon after classmates thought the teenagers had a gun. It turned out to be an airsoft gun. A threatening social media post then sent the school back on lockdown. An hour later, police questioned the student who made that post, and that student could face disciplinary action. City of Minneapolis is finalizing details for the Final Four.
The plans police have in place to keep thousands of basketball fans safe when they come to the Twin Cities in April.
And a farewell message from Mark Rosen to you. The emotional thank you from Rosie as he signed off WCCO for the last time last night. You are watching WCCO 4 News at noon.